My partner, male 40, and I, female 39, dated in college. Our relationship broke down after we accidentally got pregnant with our son, teen, and we only found out when it was too late to do anything about it. Neither of us was ready to be parents financially or emotionally, but I, as the mother, had no choice, so I stepped up. I would like to stress that I loved my son from the moment I held him. It was a terrifying pregnancy when I didn't feel ready. My ex left, and while he did pay state-mandated child support, he had zero contact with our son. Recently, he got married, and his wife must have discovered that he has a son out there. Suddenly, he wants a relationship with my son. And I say my son because the only time he's seen my son is at court visits regarding custody and child support. Initially, his parents bothered him, so he agreed to weekend visitations, but never visited. My son had a good relationship with paternal grandparents. My son expressed curiosity about meeting his father, so I allowed it. My ex was an abusive or morally bankrupt person, so I had no issues with them having a relationship. But my son was very disappointed after a few visits at how disinterested my ex was. Apparently, it was more his wife who was grilling him about his childhood, school life, and my relationship with my ex. My son wanted to meet with them again to get his feelings off of his chest and tell my ex never to contact him again. After that visit, my ex threatened to go to court over parental alienation, saying he would only back off if I agreed to send my son to family therapy with him and his wife. I spoke with my son about his father's desire for them to work things out in family therapy, but my son doesn't want to do it. He said he doubts that his father gives a crap about him, and he thinks the new wife only cares because she's worried he'll be a bad influence on their future children. This isn't a legal question. I'm 99% sure my ex has no case because my son is a teen now, and how long my ex went without seeing him. But am I the idiot if I didn't put more effort into making my son go to family therapy with my ex? Is this something a teenage boy might feel resentful about if his mother didn't push him more to reconcile with his father when he grows up? Not the idiot. At his age, he's old enough to have the decisive vote regarding his health and mental health. But your ex should go and find the cause of why he abruptly turns into a psycho nut job with a lawyer after so many years of no contact. I can't imagine after all these years, an ex suddenly cares about his son. His parents knew all his contact details. Let your ex go to court if he wants. He won't get anything out of it. I think it's the new wife that's pushing for all this, rather than the ex. If the new wife is worried about consequences regarding their future children, she shouldn't have married a man with children he never sees. That's on her. OP, please let your ex stand up before a judge and argue that you've alienated his teen son, whom he had never met through his own choice. Then update us because we would all appreciate the laugh. I mean, what does your ex-partner want you to do? Physically drag him to the car and into a therapist's office? Take away his privileges until he complies? Your ex only cares because this makes him look bad to his new wife. A new wife wants to build a family and have kids of her own. And your ex, having abandoned a child he knew about for over a decade, is a bad look for what kind of father he'll be to their children. It's not about your son at all, which makes it even more gross. OP, you're a good mom here for listening to your son. I, 25 female, have been at my workplace for almost 2 years and get along well with most of my colleagues. We regularly go out every other weekend and have activities that most of our colleagues join, including my colleague, Max, 33 male. Max is a very outgoing guy, extroverted, and has been at my workplace the longest, 6 years, as the turnover here is relatively fast. I get along well with him and consider him my best friend at work. We share banter, have a good laugh, and have similar extroverted personalities. Max regularly attends work activities and is the life of the party and workplace. His wife of 10 years used to come to the activities sometimes before I joined the workplace, but no longer does since having a baby a while back. What really annoys me is how Max always puts his wife on a pedestal. He's always going on about how she's the best cook and has the best looks figure he's ever seen. A simple conversation between colleagues regarding which celebrity we fancy would be, "Nah, man, no one beats my wife in terms of looks." "Who's the best looking at the workplace?" "Nah, no one here. I've got really high standards. Have you seen my wife?" Some of our colleagues have agreed with him, saying that his wife is really gorgeous, but I'm sure they're just humoring him. We were going through each other's videos on TikTok when another coworker told Max that his wife resembled an anime character. She's slim, with long black hair and Asian, and I joked that she's not that pretty. Max got offended and retorted that she didn't need fake eyelashes and fake hair to look passable, and that he understood why I needed them. I got angry and told him to screw off. Since then, Max has not spoken to me and has made passive-aggressive comments. Am I the idiot? She didn't need fake eyelashes and fake hair, and he understood why I needed them. I'm dying, sweetheart. Let me tell you something. You're unhinged and so jealous. Instead of trying to manifest a man like Max for yourself by throwing out good energy out there and encouraging him to talk up about her, Max sounds like a stand-up guy with a great relationship with his life partner. In fact, his love for his wife seems magical, which is probably because she has a fantastic spirit and loves him back just as much. So, you're jealous of his wife, are you? He's your best friend at work, but you told him his wife isn't that pretty, and you hate that he puts his wife on a pedestal? That's strange. I think it's brilliant he loves and respects his wife so much that he takes every opportunity to talk her up, and especially since he doesn't participate in the "who would you have intimacy at work with" talk. Seriously? Yes, you are the idiot. This OP is a pick-me who can't stand any woman who isn't giving her compliments. Bitterness and jealousy are not a good look. Why would you want a friend to think their wife is ugly? I love it when my guy friends gush about their wives. It's adorable. I love that their wives make them happy. This leads me to believe OP is platonically, but likely romantically possessive of him. Given she's bitter that he loves his wife, does anyone else feel that Max is always stressing how pretty his wife is because OP is so obviously into him and he's trying to shut that down? Girl, it's so obvious that you want him. I gave birth to my daughter a few days ago. I have 3 stepkids. There's James, male tween, Amanda, female tween, and Chris, male pre-tween. All of them are great kids, and I've been in their lives for 6.5 years. We have them every weekend, rotating holidays as well as a few extra weeks during summer break. The issue is that they all just started school, and obviously, with that comes a crap storm. Like Amanda refused to stop sharing hats and headbands with her classmates, as in comes home with new headwear almost daily because she and her friends switch for the day, and has gotten a bad case of head lice. This has always been an issue with Amanda. Every single year she gets head lice because of this issue, and she refuses to stop sharing her hats, so the cycle continues. There's no fault of her mother or the school. She's been told several times that this is unacceptable, and we're tired of buying lice treatments just for her to get lice again. It goes in one ear and out the other, so right now she's loaded. Her mom has done 2 treatments alone since school started, and Amanda's hair is just as bad as when it began because she just refuses to stop taking and wearing her best friend's hats, who always has head lice. So I've started refusing to let her near the new baby. I don't want the baby getting head lice. She already has a lot of hair. This is mentally destroying her, her words, but she still refuses to stop sharing headgear. So I will continue this until her head lice are under control or until she sees the importance of what we tell her. As for Chris and James, they hold the baby often, and it really messes with my stepdaughter's head because she isn't allowed to touch the baby at all. I feel utterly terrible about it because I love my stepbabies, and I want my stepdaughter to be able to hold and love on her sister, but I don't feel comfortable giving that she won't stop sharing and spreading head lice wear. Am I the idiot? My husband is definitely angry at me and has all but given me the cold shoulder, but he hasn't said anything thus far. Her bio mom is on my side and thinks maybe it will teach her that she can't do this anymore. Bio mom also has been tiptoeing around shaving her head, honestly. My husband is the only one not on board with that. We've asked the school to minimize her interactions with the friend in question, but there's only so much they can do, given that they have recess together. Not the idiot. If your husband's the only one not on board with chopping her hair off to help control the situation when other children are affected, then he should be the one treating it and picking the nits out. When he's the only one having to deal with it and pick the hair and the child screaming because it hurts, he'll be ready to cut it off. Agree. Put your husband in charge of this lice treatment. My niece kept getting head lice and bringing it to my house. So after the second time, I would inspect her head before her mom left and send her back home if she had head lice. My sister-in-law was so insulted by my actions. I said if you take care of the problem, we wouldn't be here standing outside with me inspecting your child's head. Now would we? She took care of it by finally properly cleaning her house and linens and keeping her daughter away from the neighbors who always had head lice. Honestly, she shouldn't be allowed in your house, and her brother should be treated each time she is, because even one louse that gets on them can infest everyone. The solution is to treat her with the ultimatum that the next time she gets lice, she gets shaved. And for the love of God, someone needs to tell the best friend's parents to treat their child. My wife, 37, and I, 39 male, have been married for 13 years and have 3 kids, tween, pre-tween, and young grammar school age. Both my wife and I work full-time. I work a standard Monday through Friday schedule, but my wife's job regularly requires her to work on weekends, anywhere from 1 to 3 Saturdays a month. She'll take days off during the week to compensate for this. It can be stressful for me because our kids are all in activities now, and they're always on weekends, so I'm running them all over to practices and games and shows, etc. Or I'm the one coordinating carpools with other parents. It can be exhausting. About 6 months ago, a new family moved in a few houses down the street from us. They have 3 kids about the same age as ours. We've met the parents a handful of times, but we're not going to be friends with them. They aren't married, not judging, just saying, and the boyfriend is not the kid's father. The mom is nice and sweet, but the guy, not so much. The kids spend a lot of time outside roaming the neighborhood. I can't say that I blame them. I wouldn't want to be in a house with that guy either. They'll stop by and play together if they see our kids outside, but it's always at our house. They never go to play at their house. Again, I can't blame them, and I don't want my kids going there anyway. But since Sundays are my only day of the week to get any free time, I like to relax on those days if I can. My wife had to work this past Saturday, and all 3 kids had activities, so I was running around all day. That night I told my wife I would like a chance to relax on Sunday and asked if she could take the kids out of the house for a few hours so that I could chill. She had no problem with this. But Sunday rolled around, and instead of my wife taking the kids somewhere, the neighbor kids eventually ended up at our house. I just wanted a few quiet hours at home, but that wouldn't happen. So I told my wife I was going somewhere to watch a football game and would be home later. While I was out, my wife kept texting me about coming home because the kids were driving her nuts. I told her to send the neighbor kids home and to do something with our kids, but she felt bad kicking the kids out. I told her we aren't a daycare and the neighbor kids aren't our responsibility. She asked me to come home, but I told her I needed more time to relax. I was gone for about 4 to 5 hours, and when I got home, my wife was unhappy. She was mad that I told her I was leaving instead of asking if it was okay. She was angry that I left, knowing that there were 6 kids at our house. She was mad that she didn't get a break that weekend, even though she had taken Thursday off and had the whole day alone. I told her she was the one who changed the plans for Sunday, and that if she had just taken the kids out of the house, like she said she would, she wouldn't have been stuck watching 6 kids. She said I was a jerk for not staying to help. Edit. When she has to work weekends, she'll take a day off during the week to compensate for her hours. This past week, she took Thursday off. With the kids in school, she had the whole day from 8 to 4 to herself. She's doing laundry and watching Netflix in her pajamas. Not the idiot. There didn't have to be 6 kids at your house on Sunday, though. There didn't have to be any kids there. Or it could have just been yours. Your wife and you had a plan for Sunday, and she didn't stick with it. Your wife can be upset, but a hectic Sunday with 6 kids was her decision. Sucks for her that she was unhappy with her decision. Everyone's the idiot here. The two of you are acting like unpaid childcare for your neighbors. Their home situation is not your business or concern. Your wife and you need to learn how to send the neighbors' children home. Tell them it's family time and they need to go home, or whatever the two of you decide. When they knock on the door and it's inconvenient, tell them your children are unavailable to play. Make it clear to your children that your wife and you determine their play schedules at home. Shut this down now. I'm a pharmacist, and we moved to California this month. To practice in California, we have a separate exam with a pretty poor pass rate, like 50 to 60% pass rate. I started studying a month ago in my free time, but it's limited, since we also have 2 children, a toddler and an infant. I initially opposed the move due to the exam's horrible pass rate and suggested we don't move until after I've passed. Well, here we are. He couldn't wait for the promotion and wanted to come here. He's in big tech, so we're in the Bay Area. He makes decent money, $200 to $250K, give or take, depending on bonuses, places us in the solid middle class in the Bay Area. I told him I couldn't work because I have to pass this test. The test date is November 6th, but if I fail, I have to retake it after another 1.5 months or longer. I'm staying home to study, and I do the pickup and drop off for our kids at daycare. He's saying we should pull them from daycare so I can watch them as a stay-at-home mom. I told him I wouldn't have the time to study. He then said I should just go get a part-time job. I told him I refuse to work some minimum wage job because we don't need the money. It would only generate $400 to $500 a week, or around $20 to $25K per year, which is a nice bonus, but not necessary for us. He says I need to stop being a freeloader and contribute to the home. I told him he was being unreasonable because I am the primary caretaker of our 2 kids before and after daycare and do all the chores at home already, no different than a stay-at-home mom with kids in K through 12. Plus, I'm jobless because of him, and I initially opposed the move. We're currently at a standoff. He wants me to contribute financially to the family by either watching both kids all the time or telling me to work at some random job, i.e. McDonald's, and that results in way less time studying and possibly ruining my career for good. So, am I the idiot for refusing to work? Ask him if he'd rather pay alimony to a single stay-at-home mom or a practicing pharmacist. You are not the idiot, and your husband appears unaware of anything past the tip of his nose. Doesn't he realize that if he sabotages your success on the board exams, you won't make the $170 to $210K a year that Indeed.com says you'll be earning once you're employed in your field? He wants me to contribute to the family financially. I'm not convinced. Are you sure he isn't just trying to keep you from earning more than him? I smell sabotage. Your husband is an idiot. Wow. OP, you are contributing to the household financially. You're saving him a fortune in housekeeping services, chef services, laundry services, etc., all while studying for what sounds like a very difficult exam. You will contribute even more financially once you've completed the professional exam. You're not struggling financially at this time, and once you've completed this exam and are actually working in your profession once again, will more than compensate for the time that you were freeloading. Personally, I'd wait until you passed the exam, got your professional license for California, and then kick them to the curb while suing for child support. But I'm petty that way. By the way, California is a 50-50 state regarding the division of marital assets. Good luck.